Hey guys, good morning. I decided to start doing this new thing. You know, it's nice to go for a walk by yourself, but sometimes it's nice to go with a friend. So I decided to start doing this new thing. I'm gonna call it maybe Walk and Talk, where I'm gonna invite my friends or interesting people and introduce them to. Today is my first one. This is my buddy Nick Smith. I've known each other for years. He's a combat veteran. He's a successful businessman. He's an all-around good guy. I think he's been working out too. So, hey Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm a psychologist, so you know what the first question is. Tell me about your childhood.
Let's see. Grew up in Laguna Beach. Parents divorced when I was 2. My dad moved to Hawaii, so I was between Orange County and Hawaii for most of my childhood up until 14. Then my dad moved back and I moved in with him full time. My mom remarried to a Colombian doctor who was very physically abusive. And when I was 5 years old, he threw on the ground and stomped on her collarbone. I watched it pop out of the skin. So we have these defining moments in our life, and for me, that was one of them. I remember at 5 years old telling myself I'd never be too small, too weak, or too scared to help anybody that needed help. And it really set the path for me of what happened in my life going forward, the career choices I had, the decisions I made. So we can psychoanalyze that more another time, but that's a quick little Reader's Digest version.
But actually the thing you said about helping others, that's a perfect segue into the military. How did you end up military? Did the judge say if you join the military you're going into jail or?
No, so it's kind of funny. I was a lifeguard down here at local beach, and I was working on an ambulance with the hopes of becoming a firefighter. And a buddy and I realized that it was probably never going to happen. This is back in 1998. So we decided to check into the military. And I had a fascination with Top Gun. I wanted to fly planes. So I assumed the Air Force would have planes and I would be able to fly them, not knowing anything about the military. So I walked to the recruiter's office and had a quick talk with him. And those guys are incredible. And next thing I know, he's putting the pararescueman recruitment video and the VHS TV combo on his desk. And I signed up. Oh, that'd be easy. He told me I'd have no problem getting through it. Had no idea what I was getting myself into.
So what is the pararescue? That's the PJs, right? Everybody
Yes.
knows Special Forces, Navy SEALs, but when it comes to Air Force, we just make the jokes about working out with Frisbee, right? So
Right.
what are the PJs? What is the pararescue?
It's advanced, I would say, advanced combat search and rescue. So we're basically the medics. When you are in the ultimate shit, they call us and we go out and we save, render medical aid, whatever needs to be done to get the mission accomplished.
Okay. And you have some combat experience, right? You've deployed overseas.
Yes, sir. I did 3 deployments to Afghanistan.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. And one of the topics that's really dear to both of us, and actually I think we are planning podcast on your podcast about that. How was your transitioning into the civilian life?
It was really hard. It took me probably about 4 years to learn how to really talk to people and assimilate to civilian life, where I wasn't. The best way to say it is
Making a video.
I felt like a nobody. I go from having purpose to being respected to just being a regular guy taking my kid to soccer practice. And I didn't want to just be a father. I liked being a father and a PJ. I liked being a father and being a hero. I liked being a father and being respected by my peers. And I gave that up. And I had a very hard time of letting go of the past and telling myself that the best was behind me and nothing's gonna be better than that. So it was hard, really hard. I started drinking quite a bit. It was more out of boredom than anything. I didn't know what else to do with myself. So.
Yeah, we definitely have to dedicate a whole podcast just for that.
Right.
But also, you are kind of special. I have this theory. I work, as you know, I work with Special Forces on recruiting events and stuff. And I think that a lot of these special warfare characters, like you, have this hunger, this drive, this resiliency that people normally don't have. And I think that allowed you to open a lot of businesses and things like that. Would you talk about what was the first business you started? And because you had some kind of treatment plan, right? And
Right.
security company, gym, jiu-jitsu. So tell me a little about your businesses.
So I worked for the government in some capacity from the age of 16 to about 35. And when I hit 35, I decided I don't want to ever work for the government again. And I used my GI Bill, got my bachelor's in business administration, then went to Pepperdine and got my MBA. And I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And not really knowing anything about that, I started my first business, which was a parking lot maintenance company. And we would go around and fix potholes and sweep and clean parking lots. And I figured it was a low risk, low startup cost. If I made mistakes, it wouldn't put me completely out in the street. So I started out there, was moderately successful. Then I got into industrial water treatment, where my stepdad and I were building emergency deployable water treatment systems. And we ended up getting contracts with the DoD and FEMA to deploy these things at natural disasters. And then because of some issues with business partners and investors, that company fell apart. Learned a lot. Then I decided to open a jiu-jitsu school and a gym and a security company. And it's been good. It's hard because in my mind, I'm not special, I'm not different. And you have employees and you have a hard time understanding why they can't do the things you're doing. If I do it, and I just think I'm a normal idiot, just managed to pull this off, why can't you do it too? And it took me years to understand that not everyone is an A player. Some guys are content being C, D, and F players. The F players you gotta get rid of, but even the C and D, they serve a purpose in the business. And you have to learn to incorporate them in some way. Because you can't have all A players, it's just impossible. So adjusting my thinking on how this should be done, and that not everyone's the same. And guys are in the spec ops community, we're used to suffering. It's just part of who we are. When things are too calm, we're not calm. And there's not chaos or some type of trauma or drama going on, we don't know what to do with ourselves. So for me, business was great. Owning a business was great. It's 24 hours a day, it's 7 days a week, I'm problem solving all the time. Putting out fires, dealing with employees, customers, and it really kind of scratched that itch I had of needing that constant chaos to feel calm. And again, now I'm an owner of a company. I feel that I get that respect from the employees, from my family, from my friends. I made it. Business is very hard. The gym business has about an 8. Most gyms got business the first 2 to 3 years. It was 80%. And I pulled it off. So respect's a big thing. You have to be proud of what you're doing and who you are. And being an entrepreneur really kind of helped, like I said, scratch that itch.
Yeah, that's really cool what you said about the employees, and I'm glad to hear how you were able to work it out. What I was saying about the spec ops guys is that the hunger and the drive. Sometimes when I'm at these recruiting events, they are, like you said, the F guys who just come unprepared. They can't make it. They just, why are they even there?
Right.
Then you have guys that can, maybe they kind of fail, but with a little bit of work, you can get them there. But then there are these characters that are maybe, they can work hard, they can pull it together, but they don't have that hunger. They can get fit, they can show up, they can successfully pass the test, but I have this feeling that they think once they get that green beret, once they get that hat, that's end of work.
No.
And my experience with the Special Forces guys is that hunger continues. I'm hanging out with them, it's always, everybody has this attitude, how can I help the team? On my own, how can I stand up? What can I do? How can I help? While the type that I'm talking about is, how can I succeed, finish this one thing, and be done?
So being in a team or it's a very unique thing. You don't get along with everybody. And how the TV portrays it, like SEALs, let's say. It's a bunch of BS, okay? You got weird cliques inside the team. You got guys that don't get along with other guys for whatever reason. But what makes us different than anybody else is we still make it work. We understand that it's mission driven. And the other thing is, it is honestly, we roust each other. There's a lot of hazing, but ultimately it is just there to make each other better because we depend on it no matter what. Whether you like the guy or not, you're relying on him to make sure you get back. So
True.
You put a bunch of type A personalities that have gone through probably some of the hardest training on earth. It's impossible everybody to get along. It's just not going to happen. But the difference between us and normal people is that we figure out how to make it work either way.
That's awesome. Well, let's get back to the businesses. So you have the gym and you have the jiu-jitsu. What brought you into jiu-jitsu? I remember when you started and you just got really into it and you seem to be really excited about it.
So I had a bit of an attitude problem growing up. I was very quick to anger. So my sophomore year of high school, a kid spit on me and I put him in a headlock and I ran his head along a chain link fence. So my dad decided I needed to go get out this aggression. So he signed me up for jiu-jitsu and MMA. So I walk into my trial class and I get my ass absolutely kicked and I walk out and I said, I want to do this every day. So this was back in 1996, right when UFC was taking off. And I was very blessed. I got to meet some of the most famous fighters on earth at the time. And then in 98, I enlisted, came back, got back into jiu-jitsu about 2007. And then I got caught in this building in Dana Point. I didn't know what to do with it. So I decided a gym and jiu-jitsu school would be the best thing there. And I've been very fortunate. I had Ian McCall teaching for me, Luciano Bandera, Alex Aguilar. I've had Cain Velasquez come through. Kelly Slater's been in my building. So I've been very fortunate in that aspect. Now for me, jiu-jitsu is the absolute perfect transition for guys coming out of the military, coming out of law enforcement, fire department. There's a rank structure. There's a pecking order. Everybody knows where they're at. You can't bullshit anybody. You're either good or you're not.
True.
There's no lying. There's no hiding. And it's a male-dominated sport. So you walk into class, we make fun of each other, we laugh, we talk about it. But again, just like back in the team or with the unit, you're there to make each other better. And no one cares about your religion, what political affiliation you have, your sex. We go in there, we roll, we practice killing each other, we leave, we're laughing, we're smiling and hugging. And mentally, it was the best thing for me. Jiu-jitsu's made me a better father, a better husband. It made me a better businessman. I'm calmer, I'm more rational in my thought, my decision making. And I really attribute a lot of my success to it.
That's cool. Yeah, actually, I didn't even think about this, but you do, and you have done an awful lot of work for veterans, for first responders. Maybe, I don't know if you want to say a little bit about it or if it's for another interview. But
It's your interview. I did some volunteer work for, I can't remember the name of it now, Project Surf. So there's a company out there that's building prosthetics, legs, hands, arms. Right. And I go out there and I teach these guys how to surf. That was very rewarding.
Okay.
I've worked with you trying to do some therapy stuff for veterans and get them incorporated into fitness. So yeah, I'm trying to give back in some way.
But even if you're in your gym, I know that you have worked with, you had cops there, you had veterans, and you always kind of worked with them. But let's save that for another interview.
Okay.
So as this camera is getting kind of heavy, maybe we're about to wrap this up. What's your own workout routine? You lift weights? What do you do these days?
I'm still lifting weights. I'm still doing jiu-jitsu. I don't know, I try, it's harder and harder. And as I'm getting older, it's getting harder and harder. I turned 44 this year. I've got torn labrums in both my shoulders, both my hips, torn meniscus in my right knee. I've got spinal stenosis, radiculopathy, nerve damage in my right hand. And the motivation to keep doing it becomes more and more difficult. But I think that what sets guys like, and I hate to say it's like me, or guys that are spec ops, is that we push through the pain, even when it hurts, because ultimately we have to do it. And I've convinced myself that if I stop moving, I'm going to die. So I keep pushing every single day.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, on my own level, that's why I do my daily 3 miles. I feel like if I stop swimming, I'll drown. So
there you go.
Every day, just go out there and get some kind of exercise.
It's hard to hit a moving target.
Yep. Hey, that's it. Any words of wisdom for, I don't know, transitioning veterans or youth who are in trouble, or anybody out there in the
Yeah, don't be
Instagram
afraid
land?
to reach out. There's a lot of guys out there, non-VA work related, that really do want to help. I've got the Marine kids come up from Pendleton that train with me that I've gotten phone calls at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They're drunk at a bar or sitting in their car, and I've gone down south with them and talked with them through whatever they're going through. So there's a lot of people out there outside the VA or the military that want to help, and find them. And don't think that your time in the military, the 4, 6, 10, 12 plus years, is all there is. There's a life after that. Be proud of who you were, but still know that your best years of your life are ahead of you. And never settle for mediocrity.
Hey, thanks a lot, Nick. I'm looking forward to our interview on your podcast about the transitioning everything. And thanks. But let's finish this walk.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Bye, guys.